why do we need to network? Well, no business an island. As Paul alluded to in his speech, it's about who you meet, the ideas that you get from other people, the opportunities they help you spot. So, as it says on the slide, every business involves other people, and we want to take a look today about the roles of other people in your business, in your network, in taking your idea forward. You have a network around you, even though you might not be aware of it yet. You have family, you have people that you perhaps socialize with, you have hobbies, you have interests, and that will all bring you into contact with many people. And what we're going to look at is how you can build on that existing network to take your business and your idea forward.
So skill is fine, genius is splendid, but the right contacts can be much more valuable than either. So what we want to do is we're going to get you chatting to each other. It's going to be a very interactive workshop. And so what we want you to start doing is start thinking about, well, you know, networking. Everyone encourages me to go out to network, but what do I get from that? So we want you to start thinking about what do you get from networking. Start to think about the importance too networking to your particular ideas or the things that you want to particularly make happen. So we're hoping that you'll go away actually with some ideas about who you should talk to next. Or maybe that you actually, the person sitting next to you is the person that you need to work with to move your ideas to the next stage. There's a great expression in the Northeast, shy Bairns getting out. So one of the things we want you to encourage you to do is start thinking about, stop being shy and talk to the people around you. Tell people what you want, tell people what you need, and it may be that they can signpost you to that particular resource. We also want you to start thinking about how do you get buy-in from others, yeah? How do you actually sell your ideas to others so they want to commit to it, so they want to be involved to move your ideas forward? And in your workbook, I think everyone's got a workbook on their table. Do we know what page it is? In the first section on the networking bit, there's some questions which would encourage you to sort of fill in as we go through this particular session. And there's going to be a little bit of section there where you can start doing what we describe as your network map. So use that to help you generate the ideas through this particular session. So you'll have a little plan for action as a consequence of this particular hour. We're also going to hear from our entrepreneurs throughout this session, and we're going to ask them how they've used networks to drive their business ideas forward.
Okay, so we're going to kick off with the reasons why you network. Okay, so I'm going to give you a few minutes to think about that. In your pack, just spend a few minutes thinking about why do you network. Okay? I'm going to give you a few minutes, and then we're going to ask each of the entrepreneurs why they network.
Well, I think that anybody can do it if you're aspirational and that you've got ideas that actually, you know, your world is your oyster, and you can, but you can't do it in isolation. You have to do it with other people, and that's why Meryl and I are here today to talk about networking, is to encourage people to start finding the other people out there that can help them drive their ideas forward.
I think it's never too late, and I'd say to people, do it and give it a go, because you never know what might happen. And I think I'd rather have given it a go even if it fails than always think, what if?
This man looks as though he's got something to say.
Well, we were talking about the fact that most people actually enjoy networking. It's a positive experience. If you can help someone, and hopefully they can help you in some way in return, or know someone who may be able to, it's something that people can actually enjoy.
And from what I was hearing earlier, some people were saying that networking is a really ugly word, and actually it's just about having interesting conversations with intelligent, stimulating people.
Yeah, and it's interesting, the two-way process. We would always say that networking is a two-way process, that you have to give as well as receive. So thank you very much. Can we have one more, please?
Yes. Fantastic. We've got somebody who wants to contribute from down here.
I'm just coming in to give you a little bit of vocal horsepower. I'm sure you can, but here's the microphone.
Well, I'm the guy with the next big idea for the UK financial services industry. Now, it's not a job for a one-man band. I've got to put together the right team. And the right team has to be up here in the northeast of England. Because as the freeman of the city, if I take the jobs down in the city, they'll track me down and shoot me.
And anything about networking at all?
Yes, well, I've got to find the right team.
He's got to find the right team. I'm sure there'll be some people in this room that'll be hunting you down over at the refreshment break. Good, thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's hear from the past. Fiona, why do you what do you get from networking and why do you network?
Well, I have to confess that when I started my business, I didn't do an awful lot of networking because I think the word's a dreadful thing, and I thought it was something that happened in my old life, which was as being a corporate drone, and that's what people did to sort of climb the career ladder, so I didn't do any. So the first couple of years I was probably bloody lucky I was successful, to be honest with you, but not really speaking to anyone apart from my customers and my suppliers. And then I decided I'd better sort of stick my head out the door and have a look at what was going on in the real world and do a bit of PR, and that's how I started to do and get involved in networking. And I've always had very specific reasons for doing it. For the business, it's by and large been about raising profile in order to recruit the right people. And in latter years, it's been because I actually find it really interesting and I like finding out what other people are up to and seeing if I can help. So it's been an interesting journey for me, the concept of networking.
Thank you, Fiona. Chris?
For me, networking is about building up a broad spectrum of people who, in some way, shape or form, are going to be able to help my business. But also because networking has got to be reciprocal, then therefore I've got to offer them something as well. So I'm not just looking for customers, and in fact, in my networking, probably the last thing I'm thinking about actually is stumbling across a customer. I'm much more interested in just meeting people who in some way, shape or form are going to give me some information, an idea, some inspiration or something along those lines. So it's about building up useful connections and then keep nurturing them. So networking starts with going to an event of some sort, but it really then has to move on to actually meeting people one-to-one and developing a relationship that's got some reciprocal benefit about it, so that it's worth you meeting me and it's worth me meeting you.
Okay, thanks. And finally?
I thought I would add a little bit of theory into this.
Yeah, great.
To get you all running off to Wikipedia, because a friend of mine who describes himself slightly as a super networker, he taught me about the strength of weak ties, which is everyone's nodding over there, which is a networking theory. I mean, networking is an awful word. I think what it means is trying to meet people you've not met before and ask them stuff that might help you. So the strength of weak ties theory is that if I want to start a business, my mates, I will have already asked them all the questions. Already, if they're a lawyer, ask them for some help. If they're a potential customer, ask them for some business, which they'll have probably turned down, or at least become customers already if I knew them well. But the people who I've not met are more likely to be big customers, because my mates will be customers already if I haven't met them. So it's always a good thing to go travelling in hope to one of these sorts of functions, and I think my experience of it is that you meet people in a kind of structured way. Today we're here to talk about starting a business, and you can meet lots of people who give you lots of advice for that as well. But in the random kind of camp will also be a load of other things, people who will help you find a good builder to mend your house, or somewhere to buy a cat, which I decided to do last week, etc. And I think it's about having conversations with people and sharing your life and getting stuff out of it.
Okay, thanks very much, Charlie.
We've looked at why we network. We'd like to move on now to look at how you network. You know, there are formal networking events, but we do lots of networking in other ways, including nowadays social networking. So again, I just want you, with the people on your table, introduce yourself to somebody that you haven't introduced yourself to yet, hear about somebody else's business idea perhaps, and talk about how you network.